Awful lead. We're going to see the immediate pivot into Shadow Shiftry, the opponent farm up, pivot into Virizion. Virizion might think it's safe, fully wall on the moveset, but if this opponent don't know about that Hail Mary Hurricane, they're about to find out. Welcome back to the channel. Oh my, today do we have a banger of a battle submission from one of the most appropriately named trainers ever, Shiftreason running Shadow Shiftry. As you can tell from the intro clip, this is no ordinary Shadow Shiftry. This one is running the absolute Hail Mary Hurricane. We're actually running a crazy ABA Hurricane team as we see the return of Pelipper. I've actually built one of these things from back in the day. Unfortunately, since the wing attack nerf, it is literally used by nobody. Pelipper was once a staple in the Great League back in the days when Weatherball had 5-4 pacing and Hurricane was actually achievable. Nowadays, Weatherball is straight 5s and Hurricane takes you a whopping 20 turns. The entire team from Shiftreason is actually ridiculously spicy, as rounding out this double grass strategy, we have got Tapu Bulu. You might think we're running Nature's Madness. Nope, we're running Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam costs 5 additional energy for 10 extra damage, hopefully giving us the ability to one-shot some dragons. I think that's all we need to say. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, Shiftreason is off to a good start, leading the flying toilet into Skeledirge. The opponent gonna say no thank you, safeswitch into Dramper, and here comes Tapu Bulu. Whilst the Dragon Rests are double resisted, this thing does have access to fly, and we are going to see the fly respected, putting up the first protect shield of the game. Dramper really isn't known for its bulk, but the opponent might potentially think they survive a Nature's Madness and we're never ever going to Bullet Seed farm them down. Dazzling Gleam sneaks through 2 protect shields, and we see the first big boom of what I hope to be plenty today. Back out comes Skeledirge. Tapu Bulu is going to be completely walled here. Dazzling Gleam, it was decent damage. The opponent then, okay, that's huge for us. End up playing to CMP. We fire off the next Dazzling Gleam, put them in a range where even a Leaf Blade probably knocks them out. Of course, Tapu Bulu is a very spicy pick, not commonly seen, but don't try and play to CMP against that thing. It has a monstrous attack stat. Back out comes Pelipper. Pelipper going to be tasked with tanking the +1 Shadow Ball. Pelipper withstands the damage. We see the aggressive pivot into Shiftry. Out comes Virizion. There is one wink on the opponent looking to shield flex. Would it even be a shield flex? In reality, why would you shield a move from Shiftry? We are full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? Hurricane! Bang! There it is. Shout out the GOAT Oxford U for that quote. Oh my days. The opponent's going to do the very best impersonation of me. I'm always saving 2 shields for next season, and somehow we're able to take that game. Oh boy, I'm glad today's video is somewhat shorter than the content I usually put out on the channel, as we're less than 3 minutes in, I already sound like a 12-year-old girl. That voice was so incredibly high. In the next battle, we saw Scizor in the lead position. The opponent tries their luck at a double resisted Weatherball catch onto Kingdra, but all they catch is the work of Tapu Bulu. On paper, this is a completely commanding matchup for us. The dragon type damage is double resisted and the Octodooka was single resisted, but as they got the attack drop on the first go, you can see a Dazzling Gleam does not pick up a one-hit KO. Shiftreason gonna overfarm and fire off the Grass Knot, as Grass Knot is 50 energy as opposed to Dazzling Gleam that comes in at 55. We're able to maintain alignment. Back out comes Scizor. Scizor looks for the Fury Cutter farm down. Tapu Bulu says no, fires off the Dazzling Gleam, rocking Scizor down to around the half health range. The Flying Toilet re-enters the arena, goes straight for the Weatherball, which should be forcing the first protection of the game. I miss the days when Pelipper was meta. I think a Flying Toilet in battle is hilarious. Honestly, what is this Pokemon design? The opponent fired off the Night Slash. The RNG gods didn't bless the opponent with a boost, then pivot out into Jellicent, and it looks like RPS for the win, very much in Team Spice favour. We tank the Surf. Surf doesn't do much of anything, despite Shiftry in the Ultra League being a very glassy pick. Shiftreason farms up, throws a Leaf Blade on the charge attack priority, leaving Jellicent deep in the red health range. Shiftreason knows his Shadow Shiftry is still going to be able to survive a Surf and should be able to commit to the full Snarl farm down. Shiftreason able to get the Snarl farm down, leaving with the Hurricane that we're going to YOLO at the return in Scizor. The opponent kind of obliged to shield this. They do exactly that. We then go for the wham, bam, combo play. Fire off the Weatherball, losing CMP, but Shiftreason can easily shield up the incoming Night Slash. We're going to fire off that Weatherball, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Shiftreason running Shadow Shiftry really is a tongue twister. Heading into the next battle. Oh boy, we see Toad Scroll in the lead position. A very, very good core breaker, well, at least on paper anyway. Not if you're a Spice Lord like Shiftreason. Pelipper completely commanding that matchup. The opponent pivot into Golisopod. We're going to farm up and YOLO the Hurricane. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Oh, what a spoil sport. Although don't worry, that Toedscruel literally has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide into this team. All 3 Pokemon are resisting that very oppressive, or usually oppressive, Mudslap fast move. It looks like Shiftry are more than content just to stay into this matchup, as the wing attacks were hitting for super effective. But the issue we've got now is if they've got a fire type in the back, we are kind of in a fucked position, excuse my French. Shiftreason sends out Tapu Bulu. Are we going to go for the one shield? Look for the Bullet Seed farm down. Shiftreason not wanting to risk it, fires off the Grass Knot. Grass Knot will be moving Golisopod from the field of play, and out comes Belly Bolt. Oh boy, trainer, you sir are in so much trouble. We fire off the Grass Knot. Grass Knot lands into the pivot into Shiftry, baiting back out Toedscruel. Oh, I love it. We are forcing the Hurricane. Trainer, it's just a Leaf Blade. It's just a Leaf Blade, I promise. Hurricane almost picks up the one-hit KO. The opponent like, what the heck was that? I don't want the work. And they concede the match. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you can't copy Homeslice Henry. He might be the GOAT, but unfortunately, if you're going to use his team, it isn't always going to work out quite as well for you as it did for him. In the next battle, this time we see Golisopod in the lead position. The only explanation for the opponent staying in such an atrocious matchup is that they are completely core broken. The opponent fired off a resisted charge move, pivot into Belly Bolt, and Belly Bolt is hard punished by Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu wastes no time, fires off the Grass Knot before the opponent very annoyingly buff up their defense. They have actually farmed to the Zap Cannon, but I'm calling a parabolic charge, but thankfully it's Shiftreason playing and not me, as they did actually force in the Zap Cannon. While Zap Cannon would be resisted, Tapu Bulu is insanely glassy. Tapu Bulu fires off the next Grass Knot, removing them from the field of play and exits at almost full health. Back out comes Golisopod. Tapu Bulu going to unleash the next Grass Knot. Grass Knot forces our Protect Shield back. We then go for the wham, bam, combo play, pivot into Pelipper. We fire off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball forces the Protect Shield. The opponent clearly unfamiliar with the counts. Pelipper complete wall to this energy. Both Scizor and Aquajet are going to be resisted. Shiftreason once again just going to settle for the Weather Ball, but at this range, even a Weather Ball will add up as the wing attacks have already done quite a lot of chip damage. As the opponent continues to stay in, I really am worried this time we are going to see a fire type in the back. And if that's the case, I'm not entirely sure how we're going to get rid of it. Shiftreason sends back out Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu going to get outpaced to the Scizor, and we're going to see Shiftreason burn the final Protect Shield here. Scizor would hit for neutral, and from that range would actually knock us out. Shiftreason going to force in the Dazzling Gleam, potentially anticipating a catch. I'm guessing Shiftreason's calling it's going to be a Virizion in the back. It is not. It's actually a Gastrodon, which is even better for us. We pivot into Shiftry. Gastrodon going to make a very brief cameo appearance. Leaf Blade, double super effective. Blink, and you might miss it. Gastrodon straight in and straight out, and we was able to emerge victorious. In the next battle, we see an atrocious lead. We see the pivot into Shiftry, baiting out a Hex Skeledirge, a very interesting counter swap as Dark does resist Ghost. We fire off the Leaf Blade, force the Protect Shield, the opponent likely fearful of a foul play. Of course, Leaf Blade does cost 35, whereas foul play does cost 40, so potentially the opponent still think we've got foul play, but undeterred this time, we're YOLOing that surprise Hail Mary Hurricane. Hurricane forces the opponent's final Protect Shield and its CMP. The opponent did switch kind of late, so as long as they're completely energy dry here, they're going to be on a 4 cycle, and we're only 4 off the Hurricane. Can you believe it? After successfully Leaf Blade baiting, you're able to go straight Hurricane in this scenario, and Shiftry able to win that 2-shield matchup. Absolutely absurd. Back out comes Belly Bolt, and Shadow Shiftry is still not done. Going to unleash a Leaf Blade, and Leaf Blade going to land for heavy neutral damage, putting the opponent down below half health. The opponent looking to overfarm as much as they physically can, but I'm not even sure that a parabolic charge picks up the knockout. It does not. Shiftry holds strong, fires off one further Leaf Blade, leaving Belly Bolt on fractional HP. We send out Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu looks for the Bullet Seed farm down. The opponent says no. Send out the world's biggest Golisopod, and here comes the flying toilet. How crazy was that glitch? Golisopod looked enormous when it was switched in, and when Pelipper hit the field of play, it very much shrunk. Perhaps it's just slacking its shoulders back, thinking I am absolutely cooked. Barring a back-breaking catch, this game is signed, sealed, and delivered. We overfarm as much as we physically can, fire off the Hurricane, have no doubt, Hurricane, massive overkill, get that Golisopod off my screen. Back out comes Belly Bolt. The opponent doesn't want the smoke and they concede the match. In the next battle, we see Primarina in the lead position. This one is on Waterfall. So we're actually going to safe switch our Dark type into a Fairy type. And this time we are hard punished as out comes Skeledirge, this time running Incinerate. Shiftry fires off the Leaf Blade as we have no foul play, or if we see a Stone Cold no shield from the opponent as well. In fairness, in the Ultra League, one foul play since the rework is survivable. We fire off the next Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade forces a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup, but the opponent does get a massive Incinerate farm down. Back out comes Pelipper. Pelipper going to respect a potential Shadow Ball. We correctly shield up the Shadow Ball, 2 wing attacks and the Weather Ball just before the next Shadow Ball is reached. Is the opponent going to go all in on Dirge? They are not. Down goes Dirge. We then see the pivot into Tapu Bulu, hoping with the Fire type out the way, we're going to core break the remainder of the team. We're going to see a Protect Shield deployed, blocking up the incoming disarming voice. And out comes Decidueye. Not fantastic, but still playable. We're able to land the Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam rocks them down to around the 3rd health range. Spirit Shackle likely removes us from the field of play. Well, it actually doesn't, but we do get Astonished farm down, which is probably worse for us. Can Pelipper wing attack farm down the remainder of their HP? Unfortunately, we cannot. Pelipper tasked with tanking a Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant just does too much damage. We get Astonished farm down, and that one does end in heartbreaking defeat. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see yet another Belly Bolt in the lead position. An atrocious lead, but 2 very nice answers in the back. We say switch into Shiftry, baiting out Virizion. And if the opponent don't know, we're running that Hail Mary Hurricane. They're about to find out. Hurricane sneaks through 2 Protect Shield. The opponent fucked about. They found out. And just like that, Shiftry is a Virizion counter confirmed. The opponent not only conceded the match, probably uninstall the game as well. What a win. Heading into the next battle. We'll lead the Flying Toilet into Licky, far too thicky, of course. Going to be running rollouts. We say no thank you, safe switch into Shadow Shiftry. The opponent stay in, likely looking to chip and dip, or potentially they could just stay in. This is a neutral matchup. The opponent fire off the Body Slam. They are looking to stay in, so we farm up, throw the Leaf Blade, winning CMP. Leaf Blade won't be lethal, but likewise, a Body Slam is still survivable for us. We're actually going to see Shiftreason commit to Shiftry, invest in a Protect Shield. The opponent then finally does pivot out into Golisopod, and do they know? We are full sending the Hurricane. Hurricane! Bang! There it is. Golisopod straight in and straight out. And that is another top left. Heading into the next battle. Pelipper into Shadow Victory Bell. Oh man, I'm going to have no voice by the end of this. When I first saw this team, I did actually think to myself, how the hell do you deal with Craydilly? I'll be honest, I have no idea, but I guess we're about to find out. Step 1, chip with a Weather Ball and then send out Shiftry. The issue we have is we need to maintain alignment. If we get Tapu Bulu aligned against that Acid Shadow Vic, it's game over. Okay, the Hail Mary win con. Does the opponent respect the damage? Ah, of course they do. The opponent then able to fully acid farm us down. Oh boy. We're in trouble. Shiftreason evidently agrees. This time he's the one conceding the match, and we're moving into the next one. We lead Pelipper into Golisopod. This one is running Shadow Claws. They are at least hitting for neutral. Although both X's and Aquajet are going to be resisted. The opponent's actually on an Aerial Ace, but Aerial Ace, a move I famously call Aerial Ass. And if you need to know why, look at that pathetic damage. Shiftreason falls into Hurricane. Pelipper looks to get in on the big boom action, but the opponent like, nah, I'm going to respect that damage. As disappointing as that is, I'm not really complaining. The more shields we strip off this opponent, the more likely Shiftry is to boom something in the back. No, is that CMP? Surely not, trainer. Tell me you haven't thrown. Oh, that's rough for the opponent. I guess the thought process is they want to get rid of Pelipper before we potentially reach another Hurricane. The opponent does make a slight recovery, fully undercharging that, but this just sets up the opportunity for Shiftry to come in, get the Snarl farm down, leaving absolutely loaded, and out comes Virizion. Shiftry then tries to trap the opponent into the CMP tie. The opponent continues to overfarm. Hurricane! As if. Go shielded. Shiftreason then makes the pivot into Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu going to respect a potential Stone Edge before the opponent sends out Jellicent. Jellicent not going to appreciate the Grass Knot. Tapu Bulu's monstrous attack stat going to land for heavy neutral damage, almost picking up a one-hit KO. Just no shield, just no shield. I think the win con is going to be landing that Hurricane. The opponent falls in the Shadow Ball. Tapu Bulu looks for the Bullet Seed farm down, unfortunately unable to get it, but Shiftry hits the field of play. Shiftry still with a shield to hide behind, going to invest it here. The opponent falls in the Shadow Ball. Back out comes Virizion. Virizion did force in the Stone Edge, meaning we're going to charge attack priority to that Hurricane. And have no doubt Shiftry will be claiming yet another victim. Hurricane, double super effective, a massive overkill, and we take that game. Oof, that is a huge core breaker. I thought Cradilly was bad, but I think Shadow Zapdos is probably the worst thing we can see. We safe switch into Shiftry. Shiftry instantly go down to Protect Shield, blocking up the Drill Peck. Out comes Golisopod. Oh boy, tell me it's not another Golisopod straight in and straight out Hurricane! Bang! Oh my god, what is going on today? Oh, I'm still not sure how we deal with this Zapdos, to be honest. Okay, step one, we force a protection with the Leaf Blade. And these Snarls are still kind of chunking as well, you know. Shiftreason actually going to go all in on Shiftry. Shiftry going to block up the incoming Drill Peck, one Snarl, and the next Leaf Blade. Whilst this is resisted, it likely doesn't look resisted when Zapdos is on the receiving end. The opponent tanked the damage, we then pivot into Pelipper. I think this is just a Drill Peck. I don't think the opponent saw us coming in. Okay, that's huge for us. Oh my god, and this Swampert in the back. I've got absolutely no idea if Shiftreason wins this battle, but if he does, I think it's possibly the craziest win I've ever seen. Someone Earthquake in this meta. Please be Hydro Cannon plus Earthquake. Crap, they've got Sludge. Sludge isn't lethal, and we get Mud Shot farm down. It's all going wrong for us. Shiftreason sends out Shiftry. Shiftry looks to force the energy. Please tell me non-Shadow Swampert running Sludge that isn't Stab doesn't knock us out from full health. Come on, Tapu Bulu. In Tapu Bulu, I believe. Moment of truth. Do we survive a Sludge from this range? I think we do. Oh, that is heartbreaking me. Enough to knock us out, and it isn't meant to be. But what a crazy battle submission that was from Shiftreason. Buddy, I salute you. That was absolutely incredible. If you agree and you're enjoying my content, consider leaving a like. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, much like Shiftreason did, my battle submission form is linked down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.